Hey guys, John here with RealTruck.com. Today I want to show you how to install the S&B Cold Air Intake on this 2015 GMC Sierra Denali 2500 HD with the 6.6 liter diesel engine. Alright guys, you can see here we've got everything for our air intake laid out on the table. It comes with everything we need to get this on the truck. Also comes with the air filter. Now this type of air filter here is a paper disposable type. You just, when this one gets dirty, you throw it out, get a new one. You can also get this kit with the style that you actually oil and is reusable. You wash them, re-oil them, and put them back in. So for our purposes, we're just going to use this one. So let's get this on the truck. All right guys, you can see here we've got the factory air intake on this truck, and we need to get all this out of here in order to get our new S&B air intake in here. So we're going to start by taking this loose so we can get this crossbar out of here. So we're going to have to remove this, and then our crossbar, and then we're going to start pulling all this out of here. So let's get after that. And all we need to do here guys is just pull these pins out of here just on this end, just so we can raise this up enough to get in here to get to the bolt that holds down this crossbar here, this brace. And also to take this out of here. And this is just glued in here with double-sided tape. I'm just gonna pull it and it'll come off. And what you'll want to do, however, is get yourself some more tape to put this back on. And just double-sided tape along the bottom here, and that's what holds it down inside here. So get yourself some more of that so you can put that back. Once this is out of the way, then we're going to get our driver, and we're going to take these bolts and get this out of here, and then we're going to start peeling all this stuff out from under the hood. Okay guys, we've got our brace out of the way, so the next thing we're going to do then is unplug our connectors on our wiring. We just got to pull the safety clips back that hold those in there, and that'll allow us to be able to get those out. And just a matter of pressing down on the connector there and unplugging it, and that'll allow us to get that out of the way. I'm going to unplug this one over here as well. All right, once we have all this wiring undone and out of the way, then we're going to start to remove our tubes and our air filter housing. The next thing we're going to do here to make this just a little bit easier is we're going to go ahead and disconnect the cover from the tube. And there we go, that's off. Then we're going to take the air filter out of here, which looks like it was about due to come out anyway. And then we're going to remove our air filter box from down inside here. And that just comes out by pulling up on it, guys. It just has some pins on the bottom here that hold it in place, and just pull it out of there. Okay, so we've got that. Then we're going to go ahead and finish removing this intake tube here. And get that out of our way as well. Once our air box is out of the way, we've got our tubes out of the way, we're going to go ahead and remove the 4 bolts that hold our air box plate down inside here. And those are pretty self-explanatory. When you guys look down in here, you'll see the bolts that you got to pull out. And then we'll remove the plate. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to unclip our wiring from the coolant tube, or the coolant tank. Move that up here out of the way and take the bolt out down here that holds our coolant tank in. And then we're going to remove this bar and move this coolant tank up and out of the way, so that gives us more room to work down in here to install our air intake. Okay, and then just set this stuff aside because we'll need to put this back when we're done here. And then the clip down here that holds our tube on, we just want to take a flat screwdriver and just pop that off the bottom of our coolant tank here. Alright guys, and then there's one more bolt that holds the coolant tank in. It's down here in between the battery and the coolant tank. And actually it's not really a bolt, it's just a nut on a bolt stud that's down there. We need to remove that so that we can get our coolant tank up and out of the way. And just pull that up and you can grab a hold of that nut and lay it off to the side. And that's going to allow us to move our coolant tank out of the way so that we can get in here and get our air box in here easily. Alright, so we've got everything taken off of here. So what we need to do now then is go ahead and start putting our air intake system together so that we can get it into the truck. Back here at the bench for a couple minutes, what we want to do is we want to take our MAF sensors out of our factory airbox lid, because we're going to use these later to install them into our tube for our new air intake system. So let's get these out of here. And these are just a Torx bit. They should come out fairly easy. Okay, so we've got these out, and these we'll have ready to put back into this once we have this all in the truck. We don't want to put them in beforehand because you risk those getting broken while you're installing this stuff, so we're going to leave them out for now. We've got that all done over on the bench. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our S connector here with one of our 72 clamps, and we're going to put, no, I don't mean that there's 72 clamps you got to use. It's a number 72 clamp. And we're going to put that on here. And we'll go ahead and tighten this side down. Okay, so that's ready to go. And just so we don't forget to do it later, we'll put our other clamp on here just to have it there so we don't forget that. We're ready to put our air box in. So what we're going to do is, you know, sometimes you might get a little concerned about heat and such coming up through there, so they provide this foot that you can put in here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. It's a really simple process. If you look down inside the air box here, you can see the shape just like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and we're going to put it in here just like so, and then just push it through to the other side of the air box. Let me turn this around here so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. And it's going to be a little stiff to push through there, but it will in fact go in. So basically, once you have it in place and all set in here properly, it's going to look something like so. And then what we're going to do with this is we're going to move our coolant tank out of the way, and we're going to take the 4 bolts that we took out of our plate that was down inside here, and we're going to use those 4 bolts, and they're going to bolt this onto where that plate was, right down in the bottom of here. So let's get this in here. Once you get this down here in place, guys, you'll know if you have it in the right spot or not, because when you have it in the right spot, all your bolt holes will be lined up. So then we're just going to take the 4 bolts we took out of the plate and put back in here to hold this in.
The next thing we have here is our air box adapter seal. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in. However, if you look in here at your air box, and you can see the hole opening in the side of it that's facing the engine, what you want to do then is work it so that the short side here goes to the inside of the air box, leaving this on the outside. So we're going to go ahead and put this on. And it's really simple. You just push it in there and it just snaps kind of in and makes a seal around the hole. So that way when you put your tube in here, everything's going to seal up nicely and you won't be getting air from underneath the hood here. Okay, that's in and ready to go. Very simple to do, like I was saying. So what we're going to do then next is we're going to reinstall our coolant tank back down in here where we took it out of, and get ready to start putting our tube together to go over to our intake. So let's get this back in. And this is really simple to do, guys. You just do it in reverse order of the way we took it out. The hardest part will be getting this nut back down here on this bolt stud. Once you have that part, it's easy from there. Get that started. Go ahead and tighten that one back down. And then we'll take the other one that goes down here and we'll put it back. Now this one's a little tougher because it's harder to see where it's at, but we already know that it's right down here in the bottom. Okay, so that's done. Then we'll put our connectors back on that was holding our wiring. And also we have the one here for our tube. We'll put that back on there. Okay, so got all that stuff back in place. We'll get our wiring out of the way here, and now we're going to go and get our tubes ready to start attaching our tubes to get this thing finished up. All right, guys, so we have our box adapter, and what we're going to do then is we're going to put our clamps on the coupler, and then we're going to take the coupler and we're going to slide it over the end of our box adapter like so. And then we're just going to leave that one loose for now. Also, along with this one, we're going to go ahead and put this on here and get this one ready to go. And we're going to leave both of these loose until we get our tubes all in place and get everything lined up where it's going to go. Okay, guys, we've got everything done pretty much under the hood except for a couple things here. And one of the things we need to do is reinstall our MAF sensors into our new intake tube. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Obviously, if you look at your sensors, you can see here that this one has a round O-ring seal. It's going to go in the spot where the round one is. And it's just a matter of lining up the holes in that with the holes in there. However, what we're going to need to do, though, is we're going to need to use these spacers underneath our sensors. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this up a little bit here out of there and slide the screw through here to hold that in place, and then set it back down on here. And we'll do the same thing with this one. We're just going to have to slide this one under because it's kind of tough to hold them both at the same time. And then you use the longer screws that come in the screw kit to put those in with. And then we're going to take a Phillips head screwdriver and tighten these up. Now, keep in mind here, guys, that these sensors are plastic.
So you don't want to over tighten these sensors and break them, because they are quite expensive to replace. It's somewhere between $40 and $80 a piece. So just snug them down, don't really crank on them hard. And then we'll take the other one and do the same thing with it. The only difference is it doesn't have the spacers underneath, so we don't need to use those because this just mounts right flush with the housing. Same thing with this one, you want to tighten it, but don't really crank down on it because you don't want to break it. Okay, once this is all ready to go, then what we're going to do is we're going to move back over to the truck, and we're going to be installing our air filter, and then we'll be installing this intake tube and reconnecting our sensors. So let's go back over and get that done. So what we're going to do then is we're going to take our air filter. Now remember how I was telling you, this one, if you have the white one, this is the disposable one, and you can go to RealTruck.com and you can purchase replacement ones for these. And if you have the other style, which is the oil, that's one you're going to take out and clean. But we're just going to use this disposable one. Now you can see here how it's teardrop shaped. What we want to do is make sure that this part of the filter goes down towards the bottom. So we're going to put this in here. And then we're going to attach our connector tube here. What we're going to do with this is we're just going to slide it inside the air box, and then we're going to slide the air filter over the top of it. Once we have it in place, we're going to turn the air filter so that to make sure that that teardrop section is down, and we're just going to leave this stuff loose for right now until we get our other tube on here. And I'm going to grab that and we're going to put that on here. So we're going to take this tube and we're going to slide it down here. We're going to put this end inside our coupler. Now when you guys go to do this, something you might run into is it might be that you have this slid down too far, like ours is, and you just want to pull it back a little bit, and that will allow you to get this other tube inside there. Now this isn't real hard, it's just kind of tricky because you got to get everything to kind of fit together here. And then once that's on there, then we'll put it in this end up here, just like so, and make sure that we've got everything situated the way it's supposed to go. And then at this point, we can go ahead and tighten up our clamps. Okay, just double check, make sure everything's connected well. Seems to be really good where it's at. Make sure our filter is up in place and that it's turned the right direction. Then we'll tighten it on here. Okay, our filter's all secure. Take our wiring and plug our sensors back in. Okay, so we're ready at this point to go ahead and get our cover on here, and we'll go over and we'll get the seal on it, and then we'll bring it over here and attach it to the top of our air filter. Okay guys, we're going to take these screws and the rubber washers that came with our kit, and we're just going to put those rubber washers on the screws, and that's what we're going to use to attach the cover Also, you have this seal that came with it as well that you're just going to put around this cover. Now when you get this, when you open it up, it's probably going to be, it'll be covered in paper. That's just to protect this so it doesn't scratch it while it's being shipped and such. Kind of looks like maybe a piece of cardboard. Don't throw that away. That's your cover for your air filter. So we're just going to take this and set it on here and line up the holes and attach our screws. Really simple, easy to do here. And make sure, guys, when you do this, that you do this with a Phillips screwdriver and not with some type of power driver, because you don't want to crack this plexiglass cover by cranking on it so hard. And sometimes it's hard to control those power drivers. So we're just going to take our Phillips screwdriver, snug these down. One of the benefits of having this clear cover on here, this will allow you to be able to see when this filter gets dirty and either needs changing or cleaning, depending on which style you have in here. So there we go, we got that all done. So all we have left to do now, guys, is put our brace bars back here in our front one, and that'll pretty much wrap this up. So let's get those on, and then when we get done, we'll start this truck up and let you guys hear how this air intake sounds. All right, guys, we've got our bracing back in, so the only thing left now is to go ahead and get our double-sided tape and retape that piece on here and put our 2 pins back in here, and that'll wrap this up. So we've gone ahead and attached our double-sided stick tape to our rubber seal here. Clean this really good with some alcohol. So what we're going to do now then is we're just going to reattach this and put this back in here where it goes. It's just a matter of getting this little clip in the front, underneath the front of it here, slide it back, and then go ahead and push down on it to re-stick the tape. Just like so. And once you have that back on, then we're going to grab our push pins to put back in here. And put our push pins back in. And there you go, guys. That's really how quick, simple, and easy it is to install this S&B air intake onto your truck. So remember, until next time, happy motoring.